Hello, everybody. Jonathan Pola here with West Coast Weather. Today is March 2nd, to believe it. It's kind of hard to believe that it's already March already. But we got lots of active weather to talk about today, with the blizzard in California continuing and lots of showers and isolated thunderstorms continuing to move on into the Washington, Oregon coastlines all the way down to the San Francisco Bay Area. You can just see a plethora of showers and isolated thunderstorms over the Pacific Ocean right now. You can see these little mesolows kind of spinning within the main circulation, the main low pressure system. And these basically form when a bunch of showers and such kind of combine, and that creates some spin in the atmosphere, and these generates these little localized low pressure systems. These can bring enhanced precipitation rates, potentially some thunderstorms with them as well. That can help to lower the snow levels, so some snow can make it down the sea level within some of these mesolows. So very cool satellite image right here. And then we're also going to take a look at what weather we can expect later next week, as well as additional systems are possible. And without further ado, let's get right into the video. Before getting into the forecast, let's go over the X/Twitter, whatever you want to call it. And this is looking at a post made by Michael Steinberg last night. And he's up there storm chasing, and he's a local storm chaser in California that's up there in the Sierra Nevada mountains at Donner Pass, experiencing those blizzard conditions up there. And as we play this video, you can see that these heavy snowfall rates, probably approaching 2 to 3 inches per hour up there with these gusty winds, are causing almost near whiteout conditions at times. And there's some pretty crazy winds at some of the higher peaks as well that I'll show you the max wind speeds here in a moment. But if you want to get more updates on the California blizzard and such, make sure to go follow Michael Steinberg over on X. His Twitter handle is MichaelWX18. So definitely make sure to check him out if you're down there in California or just are interested in seeing those conditions down there in California. Now, taking a look at the National Weather Service page, this is looking at max wind gusts over the last 24 hours. And some of these stronger winds were actually happening last night as well, so that's not really in this. But you can see that this one mountain peak up near Lake Tahoe, this is the weather station, I'm pretty sure, that it recorded the highest wind speed in California, 199 miles per hour, a while, at least a few years ago. I forget when that was recorded. But you can see that in the last 24 hours, they've got 173 mile per hour gusts. Those are wind gusts over Cat 5 hurricane strength. That's because this mountain is about over 8,000 feet in the atmosphere, and that causes those jet stream winds to reach down all the way to the mountain surface, and that causes this weather station to record wind speeds well over 100 miles per hour. And you can see some other weather stations around the area recording over 80 mile per hour winds as well. You can see over near Truckee some gusts over 30 to 50 miles per hour, and some other places along I-80 and near Lake Tahoe are approaching 60 mile per hour wind gusts, definitely whiteout and near zero visibility at times. Now looking at the European model, you can see this really deep trough of low pressure setting up right off the coast. This is just going to linger over the Pacific Northwest and California over the next couple days. And you can see that this trough is kind of just setting up where this jet stream just gets pumped right into the Sierra Nevada mountain range in California. And that's leading to that precipitation running into the mountains, causing those high snowfall rates. And that also causes the strong winds down there as well. But now looking at the 6-hour precipitation time, let's go back to that real quick and let's play it out and see what additional systems that we expect over the next week or so. And you can see this trough really starts weakening over the next day, but continues to bring showers and cooler temperatures and precipitation to much of the West Coast. You can see the secondary weaker trough kind of move towards Southern California. That will bring some precipitation down there. But you can see that it looks like the West Coast dries out as we go into the Thursday, the Friday timeframe. The GFS has a weaker ridging and another storm system coming in sooner after that. But we'll just continue to look at that as we go, as I'll likely have another video out tomorrow. And then you can see potentially additional systems as we go through later next week. So March is definitely coming in like a lion. I'm not sure if it's going to go out like a lamb, but it's continuing to look pretty active over the next week or two. But now looking at the 6-hour precipitation type in inches, this is Washington, Oregon, California, British Columbia, if you did not know that. And you can see that this relatively deep low pressure offshore and the associated meso lows that I was talking about earlier will just continue to spin along the coastline and bring additional showers and isolated thunderstorms to the coastal California, Washington, Oregon, Southwest BC areas over the coming days. Some thunderstorms may try to make it into some of the Seattle and Portland metro areas during the afternoons, but really not expecting maybe a 10% chance of that really happening. But you can see this really just continues with that another system continuing to put moisture into Northern California, especially in some of those mountain ranges, all the way through early on Tuesday and potentially in the early Wednesday. So pretty crazy storm system down there. Then we look to get that break as the European model is showing before additional systems possible into next weekend. Now taking a closer look at the Pacific Northwest before we go and look at the California weather. Here's Washington, Oregon, Northern California down here, Vancouver Island over here, and here's Vancouver, BC up here. You can see that over the next few days we'll continue to get scattered precipitation, especially on the coastlines and some of those mountains in Oregon and northwestern California. But you can see that we dry out during the middle part of the late part of next week before next week, and we get more precipitation in, but additional half inch to an inch precipitation possible for some of the inland locations as those scattered those isolated thunderstorms and abundant showers continue to move over the region. And now looking at total snow in inches right now, we'll continue to get some snow over the Cascades, but most of the main snow for the Washington Cascades and the Olympics and Southwest BC look to have ended by additional half a foot to a foot of snow are possible up in those places. But then you can look down in Oregon and you can see some of the mountains down there still again multiple feet of snow potentially, especially if you go in the Northern California. So very beneficial. It's really great to see the snowpack building up after we haven't had much snow up in the mountains the past couple of months. But Mount Baker's already recorded over 5 feet of fresh snow, doubling that snowpack, the winter snowpack, which is really awesome to see. But now looking at the NAM 3 this is a higher resolution model, the North American model. This is looking at 10-meter wind gusts in miles per hour. You can see this one meso low that was kind of spinning off the Washington coast last night, bringing some additional precipitation, maybe some breezy winds to the coastline. You can see that this has moved up towards Vancouver Island, will dissipate, but there's potential breezy conditions will continue over the interior of Washington, some of the coastlines of Washington, Oregon as well, especially over Whidbey Island. They've just been getting pummeled by like 30 to 40 mile per hour winds for the last 3 days straight. And I live here on Whidbey Island. I can definitely say that we've been experiencing that. The trees have been dancing around for quite a while now, but that will continue as we go into Sunday before finally finishing up Monday morning. So definitely going to be nice to get a break from these breezy, the blustery winds. Now looking at the composite reflectivity, which is basically what the radar may look like according to this model, and the precipitation type. Blue is snow, green/yellow is rain, yellow is heavier rain. You can see just the continued showers moving on the coast, especially on those coastal mountain ranges where that moisture gets wrung up like a towel and kind of like dumps that extra precipitation where those higher terrain is. But you can see the additional showers, potentially snow showers, moving through western Washington, Oregon, southwest BC over the next couple days. And there's also going to be some additional surface-based CAPE. This is basically energy for thunderstorms. So those brighter colors is more thunderstorm energy, and you continue to see that build, especially in the afternoons, but you can see that it remains on the coastline where the best chance of thunderstorms are, which is typical for this part of the world, as it's kind of harder to get those better dynamics inland. But you can see this instability kind of remain and build over the region even as we go through Monday afternoon. So additional isolated thunderstorms are possible over the region. Now looking at 2-meter temperature anomaly in Fahrenheit. This is basically showing what the temperature is compared to normal. You can see the relatively chilly blue and green colors over the region. And this will lead to a temperature around 5 to 15 degrees below average for much of the lowlands of Washington, Oregon, and the coastline. So there's going to be potential for some freezes overnight for some of those higher places, especially as we go through later Sunday night into Monday, where temperatures could get into the 20s for some isolated locations in western Washington, southwest BC, especially if you're out east, which is typical for them to get below freezing out there this time of the year. Now looking at a graphic from the National Weather Service of Spokane, Washington, they're showing that there's going to be some potential snow in some of the higher terrain of eastern Washington, the Columbia Basin out there. Maybe Ritzville getting a dusting, Wilbur, Spokane, maybe 1 to 3 inches of snow over there, a couple inches for Omak, Winthrop, and potential for maybe a dusting for Wenatchee as well. And Idaho and western Montana will also get some more additional snow down into those lower valley locations, and especially in those higher mountain terrain. And the National Weather Service of Medford also has a snow graphic out with snow levels approaching 500 feet. So some of those valley floors are going to start approaching snowfall levels. And you can see that Medford is even, they're forecasting around 1 to 2 inches of snow possible, with a couple feet of additional snowfall in the mountains on this coastal mountain ranges and near Crater Lake especially. Now going in the California weather, there's this total precipitation inches on the national blend of models. And you can see as we go through the next couple days, this is additional precipitation on top of what they've already gotten. As we go through Wednesday evening, you can see additional 3 to 6 inches of precipitation, which will be all snow up in those mountains and on the coastal ranges, and additional thunderstorms and showers possible for those lowland coastlines, the San Francisco Bay Area, the San Jose area, and some of those central valleys as well. And they actually got a tornado the other day over in part of the near the Sierra Nevadas over there in one of the counties down there, which is very uncommon for California to get tornadoes, but they can get tornadoes, especially in those central valley locations. So that was very cool to see. Thankfully, I haven't heard of any injuries or damage from that tornado, which I'm thankful to hear. Now looking at total snow in inches, we can see that there's just going to be tons of more snow piling up in the Sierra Nevadas through Wednesday morning, with potentially over another 3 to 6 feet in those highest peaks, Donner Pass, and all those other passes along I-80 and some of those other highways, potentially getting a 2 to 3 more feet of snow as well. So very beneficial snowpack for California, but also very dangerous conditions. They should have closed the passes up there, but they did not. And that's kind of leading to some stalls on I-80, so I'm hoping everybody can get off the mountains in time so that they don't get stuck up there for too long. And now looking at 10-meter wind gusts, you can see the national blend of models. The map is just really colorful over the mountains, with the max wind gusts on the bottom right showing up on this graphic over 108 miles per hour, which is just crazy wind speeds with the heavy snowfall. But you can see the national blend of models is even underdoing some of those wind speeds on the higher peaks, where over 170 mile per hour gusts have been recorded up there near Lake Tahoe. But you can see that as we go through later today, the winds look to calm down, but they look to ramp up again later this evening in the Sunday morning before finally calming down as we go through Monday. But additional breezy, the gusty ones are possible in the mountains with those heavy snowfall rates. So the blizzard will continue through Sunday. And you can see that the reason why these winds are happening, now looking at the 500 millibar heights, this is about like 20,000 feet in the atmosphere roughly. This kind of shows you that these really strong winds associated with the jet stream, watch how they get kind of like wrinkled right over the mountains. That means that the jet stream, these higher mountain peaks are actually going into the jet stream, and that's what's causing those category 5 hurricane wind gusts equivalent up there in those highest peaks. And then add some heavy snow into that, and you just got completely crazy conditions up there that people really can't even walk outside, or they can get disoriented and lost. So some pretty crazy conditions over there, and I'm really kind of upset that they left the passes open, as a lot of people do not have most people do not have any experience driving in blizzard conditions, especially up in those mountains. And looking at the 2-meter temperature anomaly in Fahrenheit for California as well, you can see the blues and purples and greens showing well below average temperatures for California as that deep trough continues to put colder air over the region through mid next week. So definitely some chilly air moving into California. Still probably not going to get below freezing with those central valleys, but it's going to be very chilly for California standards. Now looking at a nice graph from the National Weather Service of Sacramento, California, showing the additional snowfall and extreme winter storm impacts, dangerous travel with lengthy delays, significant reduction in visibility with whiteout conditions at times, chain controls and road closure, down trees, tree branches, and power outages, all possible. Snow levels lowering to about 1,000 to 2,000 feet through Sunday. And this is going to be The strongest of the last bit of the storm is really going to be mainly through Sunday, but additional snowfall is possible Tuesday and Monday as well. But you can see additional 36 to 48 inches in some of those valleys and mountain passes over the next couple days. And you can see that the blizzard warnings continue all the way through Sunday as well for this crazy winter storm conditions. Extremely difficult to impossible travel with nearly zero visibility at times. Travel is highly discouraged. And there's also a 15 to 30% chance of thunderstorms this afternoon through this evening as well. Small hail, lightning, heavy rain, gusty winds are all possible. And as we saw yesterday, there is even potential for some funnel clouds and maybe an isolated tornado continuing today as well. But that's really not the main threat at all. Now looking at the National Weather Service of Hanford, California, going kind of farther south into the Central Valley of California, you can see they have wind advisories and high wind watches and warnings up for some of those mountain areas down there for the Mojave Desert and West Side Hills with wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour. Avoid large trucks and tractor trailers. Hold on to the steering wheel with both hands and slow down if you're driving in some of those mountain areas in the Central Valley. Now looking at the Climate Prediction Center, this is the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. This is for March 7th through the 11th, and you can see that we'll continue to have those below average temperatures likely through much of the West Coast as we go through this time frame, as that additional systems and troughs of low pressure look to move down over the west. And you can see the 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook also reflecting those additional storm systems with above average precipitation expected for much of the West Coast. 8 to 14 day temperature outlook, more of the same. This is about 1 to 2 weeks out, so there's still plenty of time to look at this, but the trends in the models continue to have below average temperatures and more additional precipitation, above average precipitation chances through March 15th. So definitely some continued active weather to look at as we go through the next week or two. Well, that's it for this video, everybody. I hope everybody found this video informative and enjoyable. Just please hit those like buttons, subscribe buttons down below, and also hit that notification bell if you don't want to miss out on any new videos I create. Hitting the like button, subscribe button just helps me to helps the YouTube algorithm to get my video out to more viewers, and also it helps me to get closer to getting monetized on here, so I can get a little extra earnings from this. Also, everybody's satisfaction, thankfulness of me doing these videos is also what helps me to just keep doing these videos. And I know that it helps people out to know what weather they may expect and what storms may be coming. So I'm very glad to be doing these videos. But anyways, I hope everybody's having a great day so far. Have an excellent rest of your day, and I'll talk to everybody in the next video.